Good afternoon. This meeting of the Thousand Oaks Council on Aging is called to order. Commissioner Shintez, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Audrey, would you call the roll, please?
No problem. Commissioner Borghi?
Here.
Commissioner Fotheringham?
Here.
Commissioner Grimm?
Here.
Commissioner Norkin?
Here.
Commissioner Poprock? Absent. Commissioner Shentes?
Here.
Commissioner Searden?
Here.
Commissioner Silberberg? Silberberg's absent. Thank you.
Did I hear Loomis called?
No, you didn't, but I'm here.
Oh, no. He's left off. Commissioner Loomis is here. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our November program. For those of you who may be watching us for the very first time or in our audience, I'd like to give you a very, very quick overview of what to expect from these monthly meetings. We do meet the first Wednesday of every month for our televised meeting, and our meetings are open to the Republic for which we stand. But what you will see is each of our commissioners will make reports each month on such diverse subjects as housing, health, transportation, fraud, legislation, many other topics. And we also invite guest speakers to come and speak on their area of expertise as it deals with the senior population. So today's program is a very good example of that, and so I suggest we get going. This is our time for public comments, and I have one request for a public comment from Bill Hutton. Bill, would you please use the podium?
Good afternoon. As mentioned, my name is Bill Hutton. I'm a resident of the city of Thousand Oaks. I'm also a member, and besides the Military Order of the Purple Heart, of many other organizations, such as the VFW and the DAV. And I'm here actually to represent not any specific organization, but to represent veterans in general. And the reason I wanted to speak was to let the folks here in my brother organizations, as well as those that are watching, to let them know that our service organization and all service organizations are there to assist each and every veteran, whether they be a World War II veteran, Vietnam, Korea, all the way through to OIF, OEF. We have approximately in our organization 130 national service officers that assist with the filing of claims with the VA for service-connected disabilities, for DIC, which is dependent indemnity compensation for widows, education for children and for widows, etc. So I've given my card to the City Council, and being local, I would like to not work against or alone, but with the other service organizations that are here, and that's what it's all about. I would like to give you a quick example of what I have available. I do a lot of grant writing. I do personal grant writing for my region. My region consists of California, Arizona, Nevada, Utah, Hawaii, and Guam. And I'll be in Hawaii Sunday. I'll be doing a presentation on the USS Arizona for Veterans Day, as well as at the Punch Bowl. But these grants that I write are for all veterans, all organizations. I just received one for $50,000. $15,000 is currently, I'm using it in Texas for Brooks Army Medical Center. If you notice, that wasn't part of my region. That is actually Region 5. I don't care about state lines. I don't care about regional borders. I care about veterans, and our organization does as well. At BAMC, we have enough money to send 37 amputees from Brooks Army Medical Center to Triple H Equestrian, which is a specific equestrian program for folks with amputations. So these are the kind of things we do. I have another $15,000. We just put on an event in Washington, D.C. on the Potomac River, a dinner cruise. We had 100 veterans, wounded warriors from Bethesda and from Walter Reed, and some of their family members and medical staff. We also just put one on in August in Balboa, California, on the Catalina Express, and we had a caterer come in and cater a steak dinner for our wounded warriors from down here. We're getting ready to do another one in Northern California. And I also have, and I would like anyone to contact me, get my card afterwards, I have another $20,000 that's been provided to help equip the home or homes of any veterans with disabilities. Ramps, bathroom fixtures, and things like that. So we're in the business of taking care of veterans. And I just want to let you know that we're here. All our organizations are here. And I thank you for your time.
Could you possibly give your phone number down for someone in the TV audience that might like to contact you?
I can. Area code 805-405-0452. Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Bill. And now it's time to turn the program over to our program's chairman, Commissioner Norkin, who will introduce our first speaker.
Thank you, Jim. But before I introduce our first speaker, I'd like to say some words about November 11th. This year we celebrate the 90th anniversary of the treaty ending World War I. Am I catching you in the back?
A little louder.
A little louder. Okay. To start it off, I'd like to read a poem that I think everybody knows from who was a member of World War I. I see the poppies that are being worn by the veterans of foreign wars here, and it's called In Flanders Field. In Flanders Field, the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks still bravely singing fly. Scarce heard amid the guns below, we are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Field. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from falling hand we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high, if ye break faith with us who die. We shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Field. This was written by Lieutenant Colonel John McGraw, who was in the Canadian Army. He was a medical doctor in the Army. Although he had been a doctor for years and had served in the South African War, it was impossible to get used to the suffering, the screams, and the blood there. And Major John McCrae had seen and heard enough in his dressing station to last him a lifetime. As a surgeon attached to the 1st Artillery Brigade, Major McCrae, who had joined the McGill faculty in 1900 after graduating from the University in Toronto, had spent 17 days treating injured men, Canadians, British, Indians, French, and Germans in the Ypres salient. America didn't enter the war until 1917, and this was 1915. It had been an ordeal that he had hardly thought possible. One death particularly affected McCrae. A young friend and former student, Lieutenant Alex Homer of Ottawa, had been killed by a shell burst on May 2nd, 1915. Lieutenant Helmer was buried later that day in the little cemetery outside McCrae's dressing station, and McCrae had performed the funeral ceremony in the absence of the chaplain. The next day, sitting on the back of an ambulance parked near the dressing station, beside the canal, just a few hundred yards north of Ypres, McCrae vented his anguish by composing the poem. The Major was no stranger to writing, having authored several medical texts besides dabbling in poetry. In the nearby cemetery, McCrae could see the wild poppies that sprang up in the ditches in that part of Europe, and he spent 20 minutes of precious rest time just scribbling the 15 lines of verse in a notebook. And with that, I'll go on to our first speaker, who will be the Valley Oaks representative, Judy Barton. I don't have a bio for Judy, so I'll let Judy tell us about herself. Judy?
Yeah, I'm just going to introduce myself. My name is Judy Barton, and I've lived in the community for over 30 years now. And for the last 4 years, I've been a family service counselor at Pierce Brothers Valley Oaks Memorial Park. It's been my pleasure and privilege serving families in the community. Today I'm here to discuss VA burial benefits and how the VFW Memorial Program. We're probably wondering, who is Dignity Memorial and why are we associated with the VFW? Okay. Dignity Memorial is a brand... Dignity Memorial is a brand name used to identify a network of licensed funeral and cremation providers that comprise the Dignity Memorial Network. In this area, your local Dignity Memorial provider is Pierce Brothers Valley Oaks Memorial Park. You're probably wondering why a network of funeral homes and cemeteries are talking about VA burial benefits. There are over 1,600 veterans who pass away each day. Just think about that. 1,600 veterans a day. That's more than one veteran per minute. The VFW has worked with us to develop a program that would educate members and all veterans about their government benefits. Because we serve so many veterans, we find there's a great deal of confusion about exactly what veterans are entitled to. On one hand, some veterans think they're entitled to complete funerals, and on the other hand, veterans think they're entitled to nothing. So we realize there's a real need out there for some accurate information. The VFW has worked with us to develop a program that would not only help educate VFW members about their government benefits, but would make it simpler, easier, and better for members when they go through this difficult event in their life. The goal of this presentation is to provide you with an overview of government veteran burial benefits that you are currently entitled to, and discuss how the VFW Dignity Memorial Program can complement these benefits. Even if you already have chosen your funeral home and cemetery, all this is important information. When we began this program, we spoke with hundreds of veterans. It was important for us that we design a program for veterans by veterans. We've entitled the brochure, 10 Things All Veterans Should Know About Funeral and Cremation Benefits, and I have some up front in some packets for everybody. And I'm just going to highlight some of the key points that apply to most of veterans. Although the VA provides some burial benefits, you can see they vary greatly depending on your military status. First, burial in the National Cemetery is available for all veterans. I think I should turn to the next slide. First, burial in the National Cemetery is available for all veterans who are discharged other than dishonorably. Space is also available for their spouse. Second, a marker or headstone is available for placement in any national or state cemetery, as well as any private cemetery for any honorably discharged veteran. Though installation of these markers or headstones, if they're placed in a private cemetery, they have to be paid for the veteran or by their family. There may also be some financial benefits available based on certain eligibility requirements. You must submit a Form 21-530 to determine if you qualify. Lastly, the most important thing you can do is have a copy of your discharge papers. Over many years, veterans have displaced their report of separation where the papers become worn or yellow. But to receive any of your veteran benefits, you need to have this document. If you were discharged after 1950, you would have a DD-214, report of separation. If you were discharged before 1950, you would have a document called Enlisted Record and Report of Separation. To make things easier, simpler, and better for the families we serve, we have created a Veterans Burial Benefit Packet, and it's in this white envelope, and I have some sitting on the counter over there if anybody needs any. In it, you will find all the forms you need to request veteran burial benefits that you're entitled to. Some of these forms came directly from the VA, while others we created. The standard Form 180 is to get copies of your discharge papers. Form number 21-530, which is submitted to qualify for the $300 plot allowance or the $300 burial allowance. Other forms included are the forms you need to receive the U.S. flag, your presidential memorial certificate, military medals, marker or headstone forms, and requests for military honor National Guard at your services. Now you have a pretty good idea of what the government provides veterans. Basically, they do a good job of providing cemetery benefits, but they do very little for funeral or cremation service, which all veterans still need. Now let's discuss how the VFW Dignity Memorial Program complements VA burial benefits. Keep in mind those words I mentioned earlier: simpler, easier, and better. It is our goal for you and your family when that use the services of a Dignity Memorial provider. Let me explain the first Dignity Memorial benefit. I'm sure many of you have been married 30, 40, or even 50 years, and suddenly the partner you shared everything with is no longer there. In the first few weeks, everyone's around to help you. Over the course of the next few weeks, fewer phone calls, fewer visits. By the 8th week, everyone's back to their daily routine and their lives. But your life has changed forever. You're left alone to deal with your own thoughts and your own worries. For when traditional support resources and families and friends and clergy are unavailable, and you just need someone to talk to when you wake up in the middle of the night and you're alone, for this reason, we offer a compassion helpline. It's an 800 toll-free number you can call 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, staffed by degreed professionals who are trained in grief counseling. We understand what happens after the loss of a loved one. In many cases, the man predecedes the wife, and that's just the statistical truth. Usually it was the male who took care of most of the financial and business needs of the household. After the loss of a loved one, there's so many people to contact. What do you do first? You call businesses, organizations, insurance companies, banks, Social Security, and it's really important to notify all these organizations as quickly as possible, because I'm sure you all heard of identity theft. For this reason, we provide your family with an aftercare planner. It's a step-by-step planning guide to ease the burden on loved ones by providing them with pre-written letters and tips of things they must take care of immediately after suffering the loss of a loved one. All your family has to do is write in the vital statistics of the deceased: name, date of birth, Social Security number, and etc., and place it in an envelope and mail it. In fact, if you bring it to your locally dignity provider, we will even place the stamp on it and mail it for you. As stated earlier, when we designed this program, we asked veterans what they want in the program. And most important thing to veterans, to represent their service, they wanted their families to have the U.S. flag. That is why we offer a special VFW flag case for your government-issued flag. Also, you'll have many friends and family scattered throughout the country that will probably want to attend a funeral service. The Dignity Memorial Network provides ease of travel arrangements by offering one source for all your travel needs: airline tickets, car rental, hotel accommodations. Our bereavement travel offers services of trained and helpful agents to help make all the travel arrangements so you could focus on with your family. In addition to other savings, the 24-hour Compassion Helpline, Aftercare Planner, VFW Flag Case are provided for VFW members at no charge when they pre-plan with a Dignity Memorial provider. Let's talk about a topic of interest to all veterans and all seniors in general: funeral and cremation pre-planning. First of all, what does it mean to pre-plan? Some people think pre-planning is just purchasing a cemetery plot or deciding whether or going to a national cemetery. Some people think they just write down their wishes on a sheet of paper. Other people think all they need to do is just pay for their funeral cremation service. In fact, when a person pre-plans, they do all of the three things above. But pre-planning also allows family to make informed decisions together, not alone. It eases the emotional burden. You do not have to guess what the person wanted for the final funeral wishes. It eases the financial burden by offering significant saving and helps you avoid overspending. It helps you personalize your final wishes. And if you should move after you do a pre-arrangement, it is transferable to any provider within the Dignity Memorial Network. I can tell you from personal experience that you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who made any arrangements in advance whose family wished they hadn't when it came to time of the funeral service. Everything we discussed today I have in some pamphlets that I've left up front. And there's also some pre-planning worksheets there. You can use this to pre-plan. You can write down your final wishes, and if you'd like, we could even put them in a file and keep them at the cemetery so your loved ones know what you want. You're always welcome to meet with any of our professionals at Pierce Brothers Valley Oaks. It would be my pleasure to meet with you personally and give you a personal planning guide, which is available to everyone free of charge. It's designed to answer most of the questions your family would be asked if you had a death in your family today. And most important, you can record your final wishes in it, so your loved ones will never have to guess what you would have wanted. And lastly, please remember, the only right decision is your decision. On behalf of Pierce Brothers Valley Oaks and myself, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to meet with you today and talk with you.
Thank you, Judy. Are there any questions?
Some of these things are for VFWs. If you pre-plan, you're just a veteran and not a VFW, pre-planners, we will give you one of the flag cases. And we also have some other options in some of our packages where you can get all of these options that I talked about.
One more question. The nearest national cemetery
is in Riverside. I believe there's one in Westwood, but I believe it's filled unless you already have arrangements there.
By the way, I brought a copy of that presidential memorial certificate that she was talking about. It's really nice. Every veteran is entitled to one. And all you have to do is call the VA and
Yeah, I also have some forms in that same white envelope for that also, to make it easy for everyone to get.
well done, Judy.
Thank you. Aaron?
Okay, our next speaker will be John Jackson, East County Veterans Claims Office. John Jackson was hired as a Veterans Claim Officer in October of 2006. He grew up in Thousand Oaks and attended Thousand Oaks High School as well as Moore Park College. John entered the military in January 1974 and was honorably discharged 4 years later in January of 1978. During his military enlistment, he served as a Navy salvage driver. As the Veterans Claim Officer, John is responsible for providing services to the veterans in the East County. He assists veterans in applying for benefits from federal, state, and local agencies. John, thank you.
I want to say thank you for having us here. My name is John Jackson. I'm the County Veterans Officer for the East County, and I'm here along with George Sotelo. Our responsibilities are helping veterans fill out claims, compensation, pension, death, and educational benefits. George and I are going to share the responsibilities here. So I'm going to start talking about medical clinics here in Ventura County. As we know, or maybe don't know, there is no VA medical clinics in Ventura County. However, the VA does contract with Community Memorial Hospital to provide medical service for veterans. These clinics are in Camarillo, Oxnard, Santa Paula, as well as Ventura. To be eligible for medical services, you have to enroll, and where you enroll at is in the Oxnard Clinic, and you have to talk to the veteran medical representative there. And that phone number is, it's going to be 805-983-6384. The medical, after you go with the medical representative, he will sit there and assist you in filling out the form 1010 Easy. From there, after you're all done, he will determine what medical eligibility benefits you have. And the way they do that, they put you in a priority group. But basically, the veteran is an income-based. This medical services or eligibility is income-based. For a single veteran, you can't make more than $48,000 a year. And for a married veteran, you can't make more than $54,000 a year. There's also some other eligibility that a veteran may have to receive medical services. For instance, if he's 10% or higher as a VA disability, or he could be even a Purple Heart winner. These medical services are only for veterans. Spouses and dependents are not eligible for these services. So that's the medical clinics and medical services. I'm also going to talk about compensation for a little bit. Compensation is a benefit for active or veterans who are active duty or for active duty who suffered an injury. The injury could be broken bones or whatever, or aggravated injury while on active duty. To be eligible for compensation, you have to be separated from the military service with an honorable discharge, or other than dishonorable discharge. For that, if you want to apply for any compensation, you come to our office, and one of our 5 claims officers will help you apply for the services. We then will submit the form or your claim to the VA, and the VA will determine what disability rating you are. The disabilities range from 0% to 100%. Anything after 10%, you'll get a monetary award. But compensation also is not income-based. So you can have your job and everything else and still receive compensation from the VA. So, with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to George, and he's going to talk about pension and the death benefits.
We got a question.
Oh, yes, sir.
How does that correlate with Tricare for Life?
Again, you have Tricare for Life. Were you talking about your medical service?
Yes.
Okay. With your VA, if you have a disability and it's related to a service, the VA will take care of that. It really hasn't, correct me if I'm wrong, George. You could use them both.
You're eligible for both programs.
If you're retired from the
That's right. Tricare is a program for military retirees. The VA medical system is for your veteran. The difference is that guy who did the 20-plus years in the service, he gets Tricare. And VA medical is for your veteran who did 4, 2, 6, however many years he did. Yes, sir.
They reopened prior to date?
Not yet, not yet. Hopefully, we're looking at next year with the increase in funding that they'll open it. But if you do not qualify, still sign up, because they'll put you in priority group 8, and when it does open up, you're in. You don't have to sign up, you're in. And the word will get out. And by the way, our office, the county office, we, every Saturday in the Ventura County Star, we have a column, the Veterans Advisor. George Compton is our boss, and he puts out new information for veterans. So if there's something new up and coming, for instance, priority group 8 opened up, it's going to be in the paper and you're going to know about it. That's what we do to get the word out. We try. That's the hardest part of our job, is getting the word out. Yes?
What's happening to Satakoy?
Satakoy, as you all know, they're building a California veterans home in Satakoy, and it's due to be open in early next year.
Yeah,
early next year.
They didn't stop building it.
No, it's still going. It's moving forward. It's still on track. And if you're interested, you need to fill out a letter of intent and file it with CDVA, California Department of Veterans Affairs, because there is a waiting list, unfortunately. It's a darn good deal. Believe me, it's a lot less expensive. It's going to be brand new. They're going to have all the facilities than out in town. If you've ever shopped around for long-term care, it can be pretty pricey. Any other questions? Okay, now let me talk about pension. First of all, how many veterans do we have in here? Let's see. Oh my gosh. Oh boy. Okay, great. One thing I always like to open up with, we explain all these benefits, and if you're not a veteran, sometimes you're thinking, okay, I'm not a veteran, boom, boom. But believe me, we all have a neighbor, a friend, a family member who is a veteran, and something we say here today, you could pass on to them, and you'll make a world of difference for them, for medical, for benefits that they didn't know about. A lot of veterans don't know about their benefits, and thanks to the VFW, MOPH, by the way, I forgot my DAV cap, Chapter 55. Okay, pension. Let's talk about pension. Pension, VA has this program called pension. It's not a pension like you think in the way of a company pension where you put money in and you get money out. No. Pension, VA pension, in order to qualify, here are the qualifications. Because we get calls all the time about people, hey, I served in the military, I want my pension. No, there's retirees who receive a retainer on a monthly basis. Those are retirees. VA pension is a program where if you're totally disabled, and it doesn't have to be because of the military, or you're over 65, you're a wartime veteran, which means not necessarily served in combat, but you were in the service at least one day while our country was at war. The other qualification, the third and last qualification for this program, is low income. The low income is $930 a month. So, for instance, if you're 57 years old, you're out there, you got some medical problem that you can't get Social Security because you're not sick enough, and you can't get a job, you can't hold down a job, and you meet those three requirements, the VA is going to help you. They're going to give you $930 a month to get by. Help is what it is. But any other income, it's income-based. So if you get any other income, you have to report it. For instance, once you start getting Social Security, you got to pick one or the other. The good thing about pension, it's tax-free. Any questions about pension? All right.
Is
Yes?
the income-based, does that exclude your primary residence in a vehicle? Or
Yes, it does. That's a good question.
Still does? Okay.
Yes, it does. But unfortunately, if you're married, they are going to use your spouse's income. So if your spouse makes more than $930, there's nothing there. If, for instance, your total household income is, let's just say, $900, the VA will give you $30. That's how it works. They'll get you to that level. All right. Okay. Now we're going to talk about widow's pension. That's for the veteran. Now we have this other program called widow's pension. That program is also a help. Let's say we help quite a few widows. In this county, believe me, $930 is not going to go very far, but it can help. It's a help. Widow's pension, if she was married to a veteran to the time that he passed, and he's a wartime veteran, and her income is less than $640 a month, then the VA will get her to that level. If she's got no income because she's not of age for Social Security or has no pension, nothing coming in, she's living with her kids, then they'll give her $640 a month to get by. That's called widow's pension. And the qualifications, I'm sorry, yes?
My great-grandfather was killed in the Civil War, and a lot of the genealogy information is from his widow's pension information. They looked it up, there's always papers going back and forth.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Thank you.
$640 a month.
And now my other topic was supposed to be burial, but Judy, you did a great job. You really did, and thank you for what you do. One thing about burial, our office can also help you, and the mortuaries, the funeral homes can help you. And for certain widows, if the veteran happens to pass away of something that he was service connected for, in other words, a good example, he had high blood pressure while he was in service, and then he got out, filed a claim with the VA. Now he's getting compensation for that high blood pressure, and he happens to pass away, something related to that high blood pressure. That is what they call a service-connected death. Then there's another benefit for the widow called DIC. She mentioned it, but that's another benefit. And in close, let me tell you something. I used to be a military recruiter in Los Angeles for 4 years, and believe me, it's not easy work. They weren't knocking that door down to join the service, especially now. Oh boy, it's tough work. So, you veterans out there, you earn these. We give a lot of presentations, and a lot of veterans, I don't need it. It's a handout. I don't want freebies. You earned these benefits. You deserve them. Amen. You deserve them. Give yourselves a So take advantage of them. That's all I got to tell you. And thank you for having us. And, I'm sorry, another question.
I had two things I'd
Yes.
like to clarify. Number one, on the DIC, if a veteran, service-connected, dies within the first 10 years of the service-connected disability, she gets DIC. However, if he doesn't die of a high blood pressure, he dies of something else, she will not get the DIC. Is that correct?
It depends.
After 10 years, he can die of anything, then she will get the DIC.
That is true. If and only if he was 100% disabled, then yes, she will get DIC, which is running about $1,100 a month that the widow gets, plus another medical program called CHAMP VA. That's a program for widows because there's quite a few. There's Tricare for the retirees, there's VA medical system, and there's Champ VA for widows and the children of widows. That, for instance, these kids that are, unfortunately, what's happening in Iraq, there's a lot of casualties, and there's a lot of widows out there, war widows, and the kids, they're eligible for Champ VA. And, yes?
I thought I wanted to mention I've been under the care of the VA for the last 15 years, and I'm very proud of it.
Oh, good. There you are. I, myself, I'm a military retiree. I did 22 years in the Navy, and I could use Tricare, but I don't. I choose to use the VA because they have one of the most modern. They're great. They are good. Very good.
I don't want to dominate.
No, sure.
I had one other point. With this gentleman's point back here, the last 7 years, the VA has been rated the #1 medical facility
That's right.
in the country.
That's right.
They've come a long ways, especially under Prince Sippy.
That's right.
But the other thing that it's real important, and this is something new that you folks are rests on. I know George Kaufman very well. In fact, he's one of our members that we never see. But now, once a veteran has filed a service-connected disability and gets to a phase where he files a notice of disagreement, at this point in time, starting back in January, you can now have an attorney coming into that process. And what a lot of the veterans need to understand now is that under the National Veterans Legal Services Program in Washington, D.C., which is directed by Ron Abrams, your top attorney, who I haven't played golf with last week, by the way, has a list of 400 attorneys worldwide pro per for our veterans.
Wow, that's great.
So if anybody has a problem with getting an attorney at the notice of disagreement phase, and they need an attorney, we can get them connected to Washington, D.C. and get them an attorney. We have them out here, we have them.
Wow, that's good. That's good. It's good stuff. See, that's why we're thankful to be here. See, things like that, veterans out there watching the program, they're going to be calling, and thanks to you.
Are there any other questions?
And what, if I may, one more.
Got one more here.
Go ahead, sir.
I don't want to dominate.
No. Go ahead, sir.
What's the difference between Tricare for Life and the other service?
What do you mean?
Well, we're talking about medical insurance.
Okay. You got Veterans Healthcare System, the VA. That's for all veterans. And then you've got Tricare, regular Tricare. That's for retirees. And you got Tricare for Life. Tricare for Life is for veterans who turn 65 and are eligible for Medi-Cal. The VA, Tricare becomes your secondary. Medi-Cal is your primary. They cover, so you don't have to pay anything. It's good. It's a really good program. And then the other program is Champ VA. That's for widows and the children of widows, for war widows, like the recent ones. And one more thing I do want to say. I've been working for the county veterans office for 8 years. And when I first started working here, we were the only guys in town. Now, out there are, I'd say, about 8 organizations that are helping veterans. But unfortunately, some of those organizations are charging veterans. So what I'd like to get out into the community is that you don't have to pay to file for benefits. You got the VFW, you got MOPH, you got DAV, you got the county. There's plenty of organizations out there that will help you for free. You don't have to pay. There are people charging veterans out there to file for benefits. That's unfortunate, but it's happening. Just wanted to get it out there. John, go ahead.
Okay. I'd like to talk about VA housing, just to wrap this up, and you talked about a little bit. There are the VA is building 3 new homes. And these are ambulatory day facilities in the Ventura, Salicoy. You have one in the desert, Lancaster, then you have one in L.A. To apply for these homes, George already mentioned that you have to, it's a letter of intent. We have the letters at our office. Fill it out and send it to the CDVA up in Sacramento. You'll be placed on a list. Right now, the one in Ventura is full, and they're starting a standby list. So. It does cost money to go into these VA homes. It costs 47.5% of your income. Half of your income will go towards the home. But if you look at the other homes around town, if you go in town, those things are expensive. So this is actually a good deal. So Yes, sir.
If you're 100% service connected, though, you still pay $47.5? You know?
No, I don't know.
If you're 70% or higher, no, you don't.
That's long-term care.
For long-term care, the VA contracts with senior homes, assisted living homes, and if you're 70% or higher, they cover the cost. Yes.
So
service connected.
That was just the point I was going to bring up too. Now, once you're enrolled in the VA home system, you'll be getting services. As you get more services, at some time, you may go into long-term care. At that point, the VA will put you in one of their contract homes or the VA home in L.A. I don't know if these 3 homes being built right now are going to have long-term care. Right now, they're only set up for daycare. So, in closing, though, I would like to say, first of all, I'd like to thank our county supervisors, Linda Parks and Peter Foy, for allowing us, their support for the veterans and space in their office to assist the veterans when needed. So, I want to thank those people. So, does anybody have any other questions for us or anything?
Thank you, gentlemen, very much, and for the work that you do. Harry?
Yes, thank you. I think we've been inundated with information we didn't know existed. However, let's move on to our next speaker, Gene Ogden, Post Adjutant for Thousand Oaks Veterans of Foreign War, Post 11395. Gene is a member of the Thousand Oaks VFW Post, a past commander, and currently Post Adjutant. He served 20 years in the U.S. Navy, the first to qualify for being eligible for becoming a member of the VFW was a member of the Armed Force Expeditionary Force in Lebanon in 1958. The second qualification was 3 campaigns in Vietnam, 1969 to 1971. After retiring from the Navy, he worked over 17 years in the aerospace industry on government and foreign projects. He's a Thousand Oaks resident since 1974. He's been married for over 50 years and has 3 grown children. Gene?
Thank you. First of all, I wanted to thank Commissioner Norkins for inviting us to be part of this. Second of all, now I'm going to have to shred through a lot of my comments because all these lovely people before me have covered some of it. But what I'd like to do is, first of all, I wanted to recognize that we have our hospital chairman, Henry Papica, sitting here. We have our quartermaster, Bob Harper, and our chaplain of our post, Les Riekers. I thank them for coming, too. The VFW, the United States, and its auxiliaries includes 2.2 million members and approximately 8,100 posts throughout the world. Our mission is to honor the dead by helping the living through veteran service, community service, national security, and a strong national defense. The VFW traces its roots back to 1899 to the Spanish-American War, and also the Philippine insurrection 1899 to 1902. After that, it was founded by local organizations of veterans. They were called the American Veterans of Foreign Service to secure rights and benefits for their service because many arrived back home wounded or sick, no medical care, no veterans pension for them, and they were left to care for themselves. Some of these veterans banded together and formed organizations with what would become known as the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States. After chapters being formed in Ohio, Colorado, and Pennsylvania, the movement quickly gained momentum. It has continued to grow into what it is today. Are you eligible to join the VFW is a good question, I think. You are if you meet 3 requirements: a U.S. citizenship, honorable service with the U.S. Armed Forces, and overseas service in a foreign conflict, verified by an award of an approved campaign medal or a hostile fire imminent danger pay, or 30 consecutive or 60 non-consecutive days service in Korea. It used to be that when the Korean War ended, that requirement ended for joining the VFW. Now it has changed that any service in Korea over 30 days continuous, you're qualified to be a member of the VFW. For those that belong to the VFW, the way to change posts is you visit the post where you want to go to, see the post commander and the quartermaster. They will get you to verify your requirements for membership. They'll fill out a card, send it to National. Then National will issue you a new card showing your affiliation to that post. Who can you contact for assistance with your VA benefits? As before me, we had some great people up here speaking about it. The VFW has department service in every state. However, I'd like to point out that Ventura County, we're blessed with excellent veteran service office led by George Compton, who's missing in action today. George and John are part of his staff. We interface quite regularly. They're very competent. They do a very good job. And although I'm with the VFW and we have service officers, I recommend anybody in the Ventura County who needs services should go see the Ventura County Service Office. I have seen great examples of them filing papers to the VA and getting awards from the VA up to a year or more quicker than if they went down to the local VA office, or if they went to down to Sepulveda. There's a DAV and the VFW, an American Legion. I can't say enough for them. I've known George for quite some time. As I say, I get phone calls and call John and George all the time, and it's a very close relationship. And I appreciate that office. That's run by the county, and I think it's probably one of the best things that the county does. In addition to the clinics that John and George mentioned, there's also an Oxnard Family Circle. I don't know if anybody's familiar with it. It's an adult daycare health center which contracts to the VA. And their telephone number is area code 805-385-4148. If there's any service organization that would like their director to come and speak, they come out and put on a wonderful program and have more information than you'd ever need. Plus, it'd probably give you a coffee mug. They covered, can you be buried in a national cemetery? Of course you can. It's available for eligible veterans, their spouses, and dependents at no cost to the family, and includes the gravesite, grave line, opening, and closing of the grave, a headstone or marker, and perpetual care as part of the national shrine. Also, a military funeral honors ceremony will be provided by the deceased veteran's respective branch of military service. The National Cemetery in Southern California, as I mentioned before, is the Riverside National Cemetery. It first was opened on November 11th, 1978, and it started off with 740 acres, and in 2003 they expanded it by another 181 acres. It has 3 monuments in there. One is for Medal of Honor winners, another is for veterans, and another is for the POW and the MIA. An acquaintance of mine, Paul Atkins, is the chairman of the Riverside National Cemetery Support Committee. And if you called them and asked him, he could give you all the information you ever wanted to know. And that's in addition to Pierce Brothers is very good about providing benefits for military burials. How can you receive a burial flag? It's furnished to the Department of the VA. Regional officers using the VA form, it's 21-2008. You may access it off the VA's website at va.gov, I'm sorry. And it'll go to the link forms and tell you about what you have to do. Other way, you can get it through the main post office, and also through the funeral director handling the arrangements. How can you obtain a headstone or a marker? Veterans, active duty members, and retired reservists and National Guard members are eligible for an inscribed headstone or marker to mark their grave at any cemetery, national, state veterans, or private, delivered at no cost anywhere in the world. To apply for the headstone or marker for a private cemetery, mail a completed VA form, I think it was shown before, 40-1330. And that, there again, it's also, if you're on the internet, you can get it through the va.gov. Application for standard government headstone or marker for installation in a private or state veteran cemetery, and copy of the veteran's military discharge documents, which they pointed out was either a document of service or after 1950, the DD-214. And it could be mailed off to the Department of Veterans Affairs in Quantico, Virginia. And further information about this, let me give you their 1-800 number. It's 1-800-697-6947. Now let me tell you a little bit about the Eric Hubert VFW post. That's your local Thousand Oaks post. It was named after Eric Hubert, who was a pilot during the Vietnam War and was shot down. He was reported missing in action, and then confirmed it was turned over to being dead. Outside our city hall, there's a memorial to him, and every Flag Day we have a flag retirement ceremony and a laying of a wreath at his memorial. We have a little over 100 members in our post. The majority of our members are veterans of World War II and Korea. Then we have Vietnam, Kosovo, Gulf veterans. As it was pointed out, there's about 1,600 veterans dying every day. Most of those veterans are World War II veterans. And due to we have such a large number of old people, for us to get volunteers is really a task. For some of our activities, we meet at the Thousand Oaks Elks Lodge in Thousand Oaks on the second Tuesday of every month. Our four main events each year are the VFW Poppy Drive, which we hold twice a year, the Homeless Veterans Stand Down, which is held in Ventura. And this is where they gather all the homeless veterans from Paso Robles all the way down to Ventura and into the valley, and some of them in Lancaster. And they get free transportation, they get free housing. The Seabees put up a tent city for us. They get free medical. The VA comes out with the medical team. The DMV is there, the EDD, the Ventura Court to clear minor cases. These gentlemen here are there. We're there, and we run an Adopt a Vet program. The stand down usually takes about 3 days, and we're there to gather information on individuals that want to be interviewed and see how we can help them through the year. Beside the stand down is our flag ceremony at the Eric Hubert Memorial, and we also participate in a ceremony at the Pierce Brothers Valley Oaks Memorial Park on Memorial Day. How is the Thousand Oaks VFW post involved in the community? Our post is involved in, we're active at the Sepulveda VA Medical Center. on Plummer Street. We provide needs for the nursing home care unit, which is in Building 99. Those needs are personal needs for the residents there to make their life there a little bit nicer. We also provide needs for the family lounge and the kitchen in the hospice wing. Right now in the nursing home care unit, they have about 25, 26 residents, and then they have a hospice wing, and the population there averages somewhere between 6 and 12. We provide collected clothing for Building 22 on the Sepulveda campus for needy veterans. We provide funds to enable the residents of the nursing home care unit that can travel for an afternoon outing to a local restaurant. We provide donations for special events that residents may compete in. We also provide assistance to needy veterans and their families in the county. We place homeless veterans in motels during inclement weather. We provide lodging for stranded veterans. I might add that our aim is at helping veterans. You don't have to be a VFW member. All you have to do is be a veteran. We assist in providing needy veterans and their families in relocating, which we just did one just recently, back to Mississippi. We provide walkers, canes, and wheelchairs when we have them, and they can either be on a loan basis or if the person really needs one, they permanently. We're active in the Ventura County Stand Down, as I already explained, and we provide bus tokens to be given to needy veterans in Ventura County to allow them a means of getting around for needed appointments. We provide assistance to local active duty personnel and those deployed. We provide phone cards for active duty personnel deployed. We provide donations to the RSVP to enable them to purchase items for their packages and needed proceeds to deployed personnel in the Gulf region. We provide donations to a committee on a Ventura County Navy base for Operation CB Christmas to make sure that the deployed CBs get little Christmas packages and that their dependents they left behind have a decent Christmas. How's our participation in these activities financed? Solely by our relief fund. And our relief fund monies come directly from our VFW Buddy Poppies, which we do twice a year. We do them around Veterans Day and Memorial Day. We locate tables outside your local Albertsons, Vons, Ralph's markets. Matter of fact, this Friday and Saturday we'll be there. The nice thing about it, all the funds that we raise through our poppy drives, there's no administrative costs, so 100% of all the money we raise, we can spend it on needy veterans. What different activities do we interface with? Well, we interface with the Sepulveda VA Medical Center, the Ventura County Veterans Service Office, Employment Development Department in Oxnard, the Vet Center in Ventura, the Veterans Advocate in Ventura, American Red Cross in Ventura, the Human Service Agency in Ventura, Catholic Charities in Ventura. There's a lot of homeless veterans go there to eat and hang out, and so we supply them with tokens to supply to the veterans. The Salvation Army, Project Understanding, we get a lot of phone calls from them people. They find these people that really are in need, and for some reason they call me. And other VFW posts and service organizations. Our post phone number is area code 805-493-0901. If there's any way that we can be of service to a veteran, please get hold of that's our post phone. It's you may leave a message and then we'll get back to you, but as I said, we're there to honor the dead through helping the living. I want to thank all of you for inviting us.
Gene, I got a quick question for you. Are you guys still, a while back you were the ribbons, the Blue Star ribbons for families that have
we'll be pleased to provide a Blue Star banner to any family in the canal that has a service member. I might add that, that the city on the 10th of November is going to have an album. They're starting an album, and of all veterans and anybody who's served in the service and on active duty, and it's going to be down in the main vestibule of the city, and we've agreed to on the 10th to sit there all day, and we have a big Blue Star banner behind us. It's a 5x8 flag, or 3x5 flag. I beg your pardon, and they can sign their names or their names of their fathers or uncles or whatever it is to show that there's the people from Thousand Oaks that have served.
Just one more question. We didn't cover it. Arlington. Who's entitled to be interned in Arlington National Cemetery?
Well, there's some. I'm not sure I can give you all in, but if you're killed in action, that's one. Certain dignitaries. Yes. Yes. I guess the number one requirement is that you're deceased.
Any veteran can be buried in Arlington, but he has to be cremated. You could be buried in Arlington, but you have to have it cremated. They have one section for that, cremation. Any veteran can get in Arlington, but you have to be cremated.
I take that as you know, because I couldn't testify to that, but okay. I know that. I don't know if anybody's ever been out to the Riverside National Cemetery. The people out there do a very good job on the ceremony of burying a veteran. And as I described, they have the service they're connected to provides the honor guard. And I see my red light's on, so I need to get off. Is there any other questions?
Any other questions?
Just one more, sorry. This one here we hear a lot. You're a veteran, and your wife passes before you do, and you wanted to get buried. You wanted both of you to get buried in Riverside. Will they bury her before they bury you?
Yes, I believe they will.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, Gene, and all of you guys for the service to our country and the work that you do. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Gene, I might also suggest to you, as you have these events coming up down through the year, that you're most welcome to come here under public comments and pitch the event. This is a monthly meeting, and if it falls within that calendar time, come on down, tell us about it. Okay. Thank you very much. All right, we're moving on to the regular business portion of our council meeting, and that would be our committee reports. Our first report will be on health. Commissioner Poprock.
Thank you, Jim. I'd like to remind everybody it is flu season, and there is some flu activity going around right now in California, so it's time to get your flu vaccine. Also, it's time to take everyday preventative actions, and if you do get flu, your doctor might recommend antiviral drugs for you, and if he does, then please take them. Equally important is to get your pneumonia shot if you haven't had one, and encourage your families to get their children and your grandchildren immunized. That helps to protect all of us. And finally, of course, wash your hands. When to wash is sounds like it's a very commonly understood thing. However, Americans aren't always as good as they should be at washing their hands. So before making food, before eating, after going to the bathroom, after petting animals, whenever your hands are dirty, and of course when you or someone nearby is sick. Flu shots are covered under your Medicare Part B benefit. They must be given every year. The best time to vaccinate is October or November, and we're right there now. The flu season does go through March, so if for some reason this month you can't get your vaccine, get it whenever you can. Pneumonia shots can be given with the flu shot or at any time of the year. They're usually given to you once. They can be repeated in 10 years, but check with your doctor about that. And flu clinics in the Caneo, we have many right now. Long's drugstores are in all locations at various times throughout November. Just check for their ads in the newspaper. Also, Costco is providing flu clinics. Los Robles Hospital East Campus on November 8th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. is offering a free clinic. And the Goebel Senior Adult Center on November 15th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And at Atria Hillcrest on November 15th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. So stay healthy and get immunized.
One question, Susan. The Los Robles thing, is that free just for seniors, or is that just a community-wide free thing?
That is community-wide.
Okay, thank you. All right, our next report would be from Commissioner Norkin on the Senior Services Directory. Harry?
Thank you, Jim. The Council on Aging is preparing to update their publication, the Senior Services Directory. This publication is an in-depth listing of all senior services providers located within the Caneo Valley or in its environs. The directory has been a bestseller among seniors in the community, so popular that it has had to have a number of reprints just to keep up with demand. The Commission has decided the directory needs revision and will be published again this year, but it will be done a little differently. This year we plan to solicit advertising for the directory and to divide it in such a way that it will be better, it will serve the needs of the community better. The directory will be divided into sections such as health care, counseling, senior organizations, and such. Advertising will be limited to the tabs that separate each section into the back cover. The Council will be discussing the directory at its workshop meeting on November 19th. We welcome all interested persons to that meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Harry. Next is outreach, and that would normally be a discussion of our SAMP program, which is our Senior Adult Master Plan. Commissioner Silverberg, who is the chair of that committee and the main ramrod in our SAMP effort, is not with us today. I would only say that we have had our last meeting, or at the last meeting that we had, we've reached the point now where we're fairly well done with the analyzing, with the what does it all mean, and have each committee has come up with recommendations. That leaves us now with subcommittees from the council that are going to be analyzing, validating, structuring, and writing the report that will eventually go to City Council. So we're moving right along, still a tremendous amount of work to be done. So our next committee will be on transportation, and Dave?
Present. Oh. Thank you, Jim. As a follow-up to the presentation by Roy Myers at our October telecast, I wanted to update our listeners on an event Roy said was going to happen. As Roy described the future of transit in the Caneo, he indicated that TO would have a new transit center.
We need to get the PowerPoint up.
Oh. Isn't it? Who does? Hoodoo or Voodoo or
Technician needs to get the PowerPoint up for transportation, please.
So if you could maybe possibly give us a song or something in the meantime, Dave.
Oh, no need to. We got cartoons right here. All right, go on the second one then, please, Andrea. On October 15th, the Transit Center had its grand opening. This brand new facility is located off the 101 at the Rancho Road exit and is accessible from either the north or south exit. This facility will be manned from 6 a.m. until 7:30 on weekdays, or the operating time of the local bus systems to assist travelers in determining the best choice of transit. I would suggest that you review the information on the Thousand Oaks City website prior to actually going to the Transit Center. From the TO City homepage, you will see a category, Living in the City. Click on that category, At the bottom of that list, there is a subcategory entitled Thousand Oaks Transit. This will provide the services and schedules of the local buses as well as all the systems within our area. You can also call 800-438-1112 prior to visiting to get a good idea of what is available to meet your travel needs. I remind you that there are several regional systems that are now linked and can be accessed at the Transit Center. You can travel to all major cities in Ventura County and into neighboring counties. The city managers and transportation personnel of Thousand Oaks, Moorpark, and Simi Valley will be meeting in the future to begin discussions on a regional transit authority, enhancing the importance of our transit center. The transit center is also a rideshare facility. There are 2 parking lots. The lower lot is for rideshare, the upper lot is for transit system users. This separation is more about ease of access to the transit center than partitioning. Use the upper lot when you're going to use a transit system. Dial-A-Ride can be used to make a connection within the regional systems. By making reservations with Dial-A-Ride, you can be assured of transportation to and from the transit center to your home. The transit center is here for our use. We have paid to have the system established, and the transit center is another step to improve our system's capability. The system will only become stronger and traveler-friendly when all of us start to consider alternate travel option. Since we will all pay for its future operation, it behooves us to consider alternate transportation wherever possible. The Transit Center is the link for alternate transportation here in the Canale. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dave. We go back to the Senior Adult Master Plan. Commissioner Borghi does have some comments there. Gene?
Yes, thank you very much. The Senior Adult Master Plan writing effort is in the development phase, and we have 2 meetings that will be coming up that I wanted to make a public announcement about. These are called community meetings, and we're inviting the senior committee to help us in the sense that we have some, from this survey, that we conducted, we have some questions that we would like some help with. And it's a good chance for the seniors of our community to tell us some of the things that we need to know, and to come to our meeting, and as we present the questions that we have, we'd like help answering them. That's one. And 2, we'd like to know if there are additional questions that our senior community would like answered. We have 2 meetings scheduled. One is for the senior population, which will be a luncheon meeting on January 15th at the Global Senior Adult Center. Lunch will be served. And for the baby boomer population, we will be meeting on January 23rd here at the Civic Arts Plaza, and it will be a wine and cheese event. So please set aside those times and help us, and if you have questions, please make your contribution to what you see that the needs are here in Thousand Oaks. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gene. Our next committee report is on legislation. Commissioner Fotheringham.
Yes. 2 weeks ago, the California Senior Legislature met in Sacramento for its annual session. The purpose of the California Senior Legislature is to develop proposals for legislation that is of particular interest or benefit to the seniors of California. And this may be legislation that is promoted at either the state level or the federal level. And then The purpose of their annual session is to take the proposals. This year there were 62 proposals that have been put together over the last few months, and to cull those down to a manageable number. This year they were culled down to 29 proposals, one of which was given the highest priority, which was to continue funding for the California Senior Legislature. The next tier included 4 federal proposals and 10 state proposals, and then there was a second tier of additional 10 state proposals and 4 federal proposals. When the state legislature meets in its early 2009 session, the California Senior Legislature representatives will go back to Sacramento and lobby our state representatives to become sponsors of these cold proposals and to introduce them as prospective legislation and hopefully get them passed into law. If you want more information on the California Senior Legislature or any of these proposals, you can visit their website, which is www.4csl.org. And on that site you'll find links to each of the 29 proposals that were accepted this year. And another document that's on the site that I would highly recommend is a resource manual which describes the entire process that goes on within the legislature. It's really written as a manual for a legislator. Our local representative is June Glassmeyer, who spoke to us at our September meeting, and her email address can be found at this website as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Our next committee report will be on fraud. Commissioner Shentes.
Thank you, Jim. 2 years ago, we warned you about predatory lenders who talked people into taking out mortgages on their home that they could not really afford. And they picked on seniors because they had homes that had substantial equity that they could be turned into cash. And while we warned you about the trouble you would face when you couldn't keep up with the payments, we did not predict the financial problems would cause this entire country. The good news is that predatory lending has come to a halt. Even good risks have trouble getting a mortgage nowadays. So what are these scammers to do? Well, now they have a list of people who are now facing foreclosure. So they offer to help them by making some or all of their mortgage payments for them. Then they give you a bunch of papers to sign to make this all legal. And one of those papers will probably be a quitclaim deed. And what you've really done is you've turned over your home to them. Now you're not faced with foreclosure anymore. And the scammers may even make some of those mortgage payments for you until they can sell the home. They'll sell it right out from under you, and the first sign of trouble for you will be when the new owner knocks on your door and asks you to leave. So if you're having trouble making your mortgage payments, talk to your bank or your lender. Stay away from these scammers. Stay away from anybody who contacts you cold over the phone or by mail. The Housing and Urban Development Department has people available to help you with your problems. You can get a list of them by going to www.hud.gov and go to where your county, find one in your county. I believe there's one in Ventura County, somewhere in Camarillo. And these are people who can help you with your problems. The other scam, which we've mentioned in the past, but this is the first one I've actually seen myself. A friend of mine gave me this. This is called the fake lottery scam. Remember that they tell you won a lottery, but you have to pay in order to collect the money? The letter comes to him in a plain white envelope. Had the Canadian stamp, no return address on it. I crossed out his name and address, but it's on an adhesive label, so they must send these out by the thousands. And he gets a plain old letter that looks like this, says he's won $250,000 in the lottery, which he hadn't really entered. It's addressed to Dear Sir or Madam. I guess they couldn't remember the name of the guy who just won $250,000. It's a very nice letter. It says in order to collect this $250,000, he has to send them a check for $3,980 to pay the taxes. And to make it easy for him, they send him a check for $4,980, and he can deposit this check, and then he'll be ahead $1,000. It looks like a check. And for some reason, the envelope contained 2 checks. I don't really understand that at all. They must have made a mistake somewhere. The scam is that you deposit the check, and then they ask you to wire them using Western Union, the $3,980 for the taxes, and then 2 weeks later, this check will bounce. You can't get your money back. Once you wired it, it's lost. So, but you're now out $4,000. You're out the $3,980. You probably, with the bounced check, overdrew your account. You're subject to all kind of bank charges for that. So you really want to stay away from these things. Remember the old saying, if it's too good to be true? It probably isn't. And finally, the Los Angeles Times has reported an increase in phishing emails. Phishing, you remember, is when you get an email asking you for personal information so they can steal your identity or your bank account. They're taking advantage of the recent takeovers and mergers of banks. Wachovia was just bought by Wells Fargo, and Chase bought Washington Mutual. And so these emails say that due to these takeovers or mergers, they have to verify their records. So would you please fill out this form? No, don't do that. This form will ask you for all kinds of personal information, and believe me, the bank will never ask you for this kind of information. They already have it. I want to let you know that next month we're going to have as our speaker Julia Wysong, who is the coordinator for FAST, the Financial Abuse Specialist Team, who investigate cases in which senior citizens are being financially abused. So I hope you'll all be able to listen to that one or come here to attend it. You can ask her questions if you're here.
Are there any numbers that someone can call if they're suspicious of something they're entertaining? Is there a county or a sheriff office or something that the general citizenry can contact to check the legitimacy of something?
Depending on what it is, I think going to Senior Concerns is a good place to start. And offhand, I don't have their number, although I think it's in the sheet, isn't it? Andrea has the number. She keeps taking this little piece of paper.
Well, I'd say besides Senior Concerns, I would definitely call the Ventura County Sheriff's Department.
Yeah. If you really,
because Deputy Logan and others have a whole thing on scams and a listing of where you can call and write depending on it, and anything else that may need to be investigated. Also, I wanted to piggyback on your scam for your mortgages. Quite a few people have been coming through that have been renting homes in which now the current owner is letting their house payments go defunct, and then all of a sudden they're getting a notice saying that they need to move out. If you are renting, you do have renter's rights, so you don't have to leave just because somebody said they sold their house or it's being foreclosed. Another good way is to also go to the bank in which that person has their mortgage with. The bank, rather, if you've been making house payments to the person and they're keeping them and not putting them towards their mortgage, the bank is more likely to let you stay a little longer, providing that you're paying them directly the rent that you were paying to the person who owned the house. So there are some ways to get around this. But that's been happening to people, and it's kind of scary. So that's something to look out for, too, as well.
Jim? The FCC also maintains a website, and if you're a victim of identity theft, that's a good place to go to file a complaint. But your first step is your local sheriff.
I'd like to update a little bit. First off, Deputy Larry Logan has retired.
Oh, yes?
Yes, he's retired. I don't remember his replacement's name, but the sheriff's number that you want to call is 494-8200.
Mm-hmm.
That is the dispatch of the Ventura County Sheriff, and if it's a problem, they'll send a deputy down if you call that number.
Yeah. And if you have had a loss due to identity theft, even though there's absolutely probably no chance of ever getting your money back, it's important that you file a complaint with the police, because having that police report on record is one way of saving you from further trouble.
Okay. Thank you, Martin. Our next committee report will be on disaster and emergency preparation. Commissioner Loomis.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Let's continue where we left off last month. May I have the first PowerPoint? PowerPoint up. Kiddo, thank you so much. We talked about the preparing your evacuation box. I hope everybody has done that. Between this month and last month, of course, we had a very, very bad series of wildfires. I'd like to point out that the things that we're talking about to prepare for wildfires also work to some extent with respect to responding to or controlling our reactions to an earthquake. The best thing that we can do with respect to prescription support is to grab every prescription we have and put it in a little bag and put that in the comfort box that goes with us. And the reason why we want to grab the prescriptions is because if you are using CVS, for instance, you can simply call the pharmacy and give them the prescription number and get it refilled. I don't know of any other way to get past, for instance, in my case, Tricare for Life and Medicare, to get an extra emergency supply of prescriptions, and I don't really know of a good way to keep my prescriptions current, fresh, let's say, if I should do that. So just grab the prescription bottles and take them with you. If you need to have them under refrigeration, have you thought about putting them in a little cooler and then grabbing every bit of frozen stuff you have out of your freezer? Frozen peas work fine for a while, and that will keep your prescriptions cold until you can get some help at the evacuation center. Planning for pets. This is really tough. Particularly, I've got two very large dogs, so my plan needs to be fairly complicated. But one thing that you should do is be sure that your pet vaccinations are up to date and you've put the vaccination papers in the evacuation box and that they are wearing their tags. Some places will require your animal to be muzzled. Buy a roll of gauze. A gauze makes a fine temporary muzzle for your animal if the animal needs to be muzzled. My house is hung with thousands of pictures that we want to keep. Unfortunately, we can't take every picture we have on the walls with us. There are too many. So what you can do is go and buy a little roll of colored stickers and put a colored sticker on the bottom of the frame. That way, in a hurry, you can grab the picture that you want and get it out to the car. Technician, may I have the next slide? I can't say this too strongly. Everyone needs to make regular computer backups, and you need to put those backups in your evacuation box or in another box that contains the originals of your software. If you inventory your software in your backups, you'll find that you probably have many $1,000s worth of information and backups software that you need to have. Along with the software backup, may I suggest that you make a DVD with, just use a camera in your computer and take that camera and spend some time with it in every room of your house. Look in every nook and cranny, look in your drawers, describe what you see in the drawers, and put that on the DVD. Make a copy of the DVD and send it to someplace far away for safekeeping. Our house inventory is in Virginia with one of our daughters. The other one is in the evacuation box, and I have a third one yet in case I need to make an insurance claim. Create a comfort kit, and your prescriptions go in the comfort kit. Things that you find necessary. For instance, you can hear my voice right now. It's awful. Put the over-the-counter medications that you need to have for colds and whatever is going to keep you comfortable in the evacuation site. And then finally, as the slide says, store all of your valuable duplicates and crucial information some other place off-site. Technician, may I have the camera on me, please? You can't do anything in government unless you have a really fancy acronym, and I'm not doing this for drama, but because this all came about in a big hurry. The acronym LEOSAD stands for Leave Early or Stay and Defend. I don't know if we're all aware of the fact that when we're given an evacuation order, we don't have to leave. But if we leave, what is necessary for us to do is we need to leave early so that we are not fouling the roadways would be the best thing, so that we're not getting in the way of fire people and emergency people and the police. Recently, there's been a change in philosophy in the county, and the change in the philosophy is this: you may stay if you want to, but if you do, you should be prepared to defend your own property. This is a very, very complex kind of a decision that some of us could make. The younger ones amongst us may want to stay and defend our property, and there's a good reason for that. The older ones of us may say, no, I'm going to leave early and evacuate and take my chances, and that's the reason why I've got insurance. I'm in the process of gathering more information for us so that I can let you know accurately what are the dangerous areas in Thousand Oaks. And there are new maps that have been drawn. These maps, I think, are going to affect us in a major way. And I'm also trying to arrange for us during the first part of the year someone from the fire department who can speak to us and talk about wildfire plans. One final thing, this is the month for the shake, rattle, and roll exercise where we're going to practice earthquake preparedness. It's a good time to take a look at it and pay attention to what the folks tell you about keeping safe in your domicile while the earthquake is going on. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you very much, Lee. Okay, it's time for our liaison reports, and that first would be the VCAAA. The VCAAA has not met this past month, though the director, Victoria Jump, did attend our last SAMP meeting, and we were able to compare efforts in terms of surveys and trying to outreach to the baby boomer population. But it is significant that that the VCAAA is cooperating fully with the Thousand Oaks Council on Aging and vice versa. There will be a meeting of the VCAAA this next week, and we'll have a full report in December. Our next liaison report would be RSVP, the Retired Senior Volunteer Program. Martin?
Well, RSVP is badly in need of drivers for programs such as Meals on Wheels. So if you can volunteer for that service, please call them at 381-2746. Thank you.
And now for the update on what the heck's going on over there at the Goebel Center, and there's always a million things. The director, Andrea Koval.
Well, we've Friday, this coming Friday, November 7th, there is going to be a low vision seminar. Braille Institute is sponsoring it. They will also have some vendor booths, so it'll be somewhat fair-like. And so they can meet providers. You can get some other information. So if anybody has friends or yourself who are noticing some vision problems or need some other things, this is a really good place to come. Now for this one, even though it is held at the Goebel Center, if you need more information about this low vision seminar and fair, you would call 805-983-3324. Also this Saturday, we have our annual holiday craft bazaar from 9:30 to 1:30. It's a nice, easy, quick way to shop. I know all our holidays are coming up. You can find some really good finds. They're all handmade, so you'll find a whole variety of jewelry, quilts, candles, all sorts of really, really neat stuff. And it's free to come in, so come on in, do some quick shopping, and help support our local artisans. Also, Monday, November 10th, Dr. Bresky will be coming back and going over tips for tuning up your brain and simple exercises to keep us motivated and remembering. And Tuesday, November 11th, I know it's a holiday for a lot of different places. I know the city will basically be closed. Goebel Center will not. And with our local Senior Nutrition Action Council, which is the nonprofit agency overseeing our nutrition programs here, they're doing their deals on wheels, so you get a second chance to come shop. They get some really neat items donated, any great jewelry, household things, sometimes clothes, children's things, and all the proceeds from anything that is bought will go directly to our local Marquee Cafe, our senior nutrition program at the Goebel Senior Adult Center. So that's a really good way to come shop again and also support a nonprofit at the same time. So hope to see you there. And that's from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. So that's Tuesday, November 11th, which is the holiday. So come on down. November 12th, 7 Secrets to Money for Life, presented by Ace Capital. And that'll be from 6 to 8 p.m. So if you're out there working and you want some secrets to having your money for life, especially in these times, come on down. We are taking reservations for that, so towards the end I'll give you the main number for the Goebel Center. And as was noticed earlier, we are doing flu shots November 15th, which is a Saturday, and that'll go from 9 to 3 p.m. Again, if you have Medicare Part B as your primary insurance, you don't have anything else, it's free, and or if you have Aetna. Anybody else, there's a copay of $30. Then Tuesday, November 18th, Betty Berry will be in the center and understanding your Medicare 2009 changes. That is limited seating, so again, you will need to call in for reservations. And that'll be from 1 to 3. Also that same day, right after, so you can stay right there. And from 3:30 to 5:30, talk about wealth accumulation. So how to accumulate that wealth. So you can do the 7 secrets, you can do the wealth accumulation, you'll be set. And again, that'll be presented by Ace Capital. And November 20th, we have 2 seminars. November's packed. One is on memory loss. We do have Dr. LaBelle and a few other professionals. A whole panel will be giving information on how to help your loved one who has memory loss, and then there's information and referrals and some other different agencies that will be there talking. So that'll be a really good panel. So if you have any friends or relatives, you might want to come and check this out because it'll be a really nice seminar. Also, there'll be one on annuities and taxes. So that same day, and that'll be from 6:30 to 8:30. Memory loss 6:30 to 8:30. Annuities and taxes 10 to 11:30. I hate wearing these things. Then Betty Berry will be back Friday, November 21st. Will you pass your next driving test? So she will talk about rules of the road. She will have handouts. So it goes over quite a bit. If you do want to attend that, again, you're going to need reservations. That's limited seating. And she does suggest that you go to her local DMV and get the local book. Those she does not bring. However, she does have a whole packet of things that do have some sample tests. But again, in order to get those sample tests, you have to come to the seminar. They're not available any other way because she goes over a whole bunch of things besides what's in that book. Then Monday, December 8th is our annual holiday party, and it's free. And starting Monday, we'll be giving out the tickets for that. It's always packed, so make sure if that's something you want to do, come to the center and pick up your ticket. And last but not least, December 31st, our New Year's Eve dance and casino night. It's always well attended. It's fun. You get to dance. You can play some cards. You can win some prizes. There's some really good hors d'oeuvres and just good fun, and everybody gets dressed up. So those are all the main things for November and just the start of December. Does anybody have any questions or additions to all this stuff? Oh my gosh, you don't. Woo!
Delivered.
All right, well, thank you.
All right. Do we have any significant announcements any council member would like to make? This is our time for special events announcements. David?
Thank you, Jim. If I may, I just wanted to review an event that a couple of your Council on Aging members went to last week. This was at the Congress of California Seniors. Mel Silverberg, Nick, and I attended this Southern California event put on by, again, this Congress of California Seniors. This organization is a public advocacy group that focuses its prime on attention for health, housing, long-term care, elder abuse, and consumer issues that impact older adults. The impact of the economy as well as the troubles with the recently passed budgets were prime topics. As an example of the financial situation, you may remember that after the budget was submitted by the state legislature, the governor had to cut an additional $500 million. Of that $500 million that the governor cut, $208 million was slated for senior programs. And just as a side note, seniors comprise maybe 10% of the population of California, but suffered over 40% of the cuts beyond what the legislature had already cut in trying to develop a compromise budget. As a result, many programs will be severely diminished. An example is the Ombudsman program. Ombudsman is an organization for monitoring situations at elder care facilities. With these cuts, there will be little money for the Ventura County organization to manage the nearly 50 volunteers who go out into the community to these RCFEs or similar SNFs to see what problems there are. And so that the folks there are very concerned about what's going to happen not only this year, but beyond. You can learn more about the California Congress of Seniors at www.seniors.org. In summary, just an overall note, several of the speakers made the point that promises were made to our generation, promises that would be supported when we arrived at our golden years. As a group, seniors will have to vigorously remind our legislatures that these promises are to be kept. This is another avenue to voice your individual concerns on how our tax money is being allocated for senior programs. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. Wonderful report. Any other special announcements anyone has?
Jim?
Yes.
May I, in terms of community news, personal news, I'd like to say congratulations to my sister, Andrea Lee, who was elected to the Office of State Representative in Arkansas yesterday during the elections. And also to just a special hello to my nephew, United States Army Captain Andrew James Lee, who is being deployed on his second tour in the war, this time to Baghdad. He served in Afghanistan prior to that, and he'll be leaving within the next 2 weeks.
Thank you very much. Also, a special congratulations to City Council members Jackie Irwin and Tom Clancy for their re-election. We look forward to our continued relationship. Congratulations. Any other comments? Any other announcements? Well, if there's no more business before this council, I call this meeting adjourned.